Okay, this is going to be called really quick here, Make No Mistake. Unfortunately, I'm still here, I guess. This is going to be a very quick. Oh, and by the way, in case I don't, in case it didn't come across, I'm, with the name and everything, I'm not, probably not whoever anybody who sees that name is probably is going to think it is. But anyhow, there are three, and I will say this with 100% confidence because I know it for a fact already. Okay, there are three operatives that live in the living quarters that I am at. Ever since they arrived, they are posing as renters, and this is to eliminate any issue of clarity that there may be, because I know they will see this just seconds after it's posted, if not before, because they watch and listen to every single thing I do because of, well, basically, let's just say I have proof of it. Okay? And it is not appreciated. It is not wanted. It is, besides unconstitutional and unlawful, it is not wanted. Please stop. Please stop it. Now, I know they probably won't, these individuals, but at least there is clarity on this, as they all have to have this because they're, for some reason, can't seem to get it. These individuals, for going this long, it's been now, we're going over half a year now. And these, especially the wannabe leader, I call him the wannabe leader. He obsesses every single second, every single day, just any which way. How can I draw him out? How can we get him? How can we draw, that's the, how can we get him? How can we draw him out? How can we get him? And I am just sick of it. Okay. I am just absolutely sick of it. I mean, this individual, if something was wrong, there's, immediate congregating with the others, and then they console themselves, and then okay, well, what else can we do? Okay, this is just, these individuals are out of their mind, but especially this one. For clarity, it is not wanted. It is not lawful. Please stop. 24/7, they watch what I do in my own living quarters, in my own living space. If I go to one corner, you can hear them all conferring. Oh, what's he doing now? Oh, he's getting up. He's going over there to, would you want that? And I'll cover this in what's called the non-fun house. But for clarity, just as this one here is going to go up just for clarity, make no mistake, I do not appreciate being watched 24/7 in my own living quarters by three operatives posing as renters who moved in back to back to back. It is not appreciated. Please stop. Okay, everybody, so this one is basically going to be called the non-fun house. Just to give you an inkling of what I go through on a daily basis, I am watched and my movements are reported throughout the operative members in the rental house. They are back and forth text, and they have eyes off property. It is very obvious, obviously. They have eyes off property. They communicate with them on property. Where's he going now? Where's he going now? Oh, he's in the bathroom. He's in the, now, how would you like to be watched as you use the bathroom? As you, I hate to be graphic here, but one or two. Otherwise, let's just say there is particular individual or set of individuals, if it's doesn't happen to be the same one on every occasion, that just has a madness to want to hurry into the space directly above, and just as you are leaving or just after or what have you, seem to leave. What do you think? So anyhow, but it's 24/7, 365, and it is not wanted, it is not appreciated, it is unlawful. You have to lock, let me give you a little description here. You have to lock your door. I never had to do that before. Ever since these three operatives moved in back to back to back, I have to lock my door just to simply go to the bathroom. I have to lock my door to go most times just to the kitchen. And it is absolutely just stupid. It is absolutely stupid. Even just to use the phone, or if I wanted to just have quiet and private time, you have to go outside. You have to go outside, and it is the logic behind it is, let me just clarify this too, as I know they will see this again, as I always say, just seconds after it's posted or probably before. I'm not the one that when there is, and they all seem to, and I don't do it for this reason, it's simply done for the fact that I don't appreciate either the gang gatherings when they send, just what seems like everybody and their grandmother, and you hear, 10 to 12 car doors slam. You don't know if they're sending, whomever to just, do whatever. It's very, very uncomfortable. So, I'm not the one who scatters and hurriedly gets the hell out of there like a bat out of hell. Every time there's any kind of indication that I might be contacting the authorities or making a report that is not controllable, as they watch everything that is on my video screen and my computer screen 24/7, 365. I'm not the one, and that's the main thing, that is, nobody should have to live like this. When you are, forgive my language here, when you're taking a crap, when you are taking a piss, taking a shower, you're being watched. And it's, yes, what seems to be, at least location-wise, with eyes off property, but it is definitely and mainly on property. I mean, this is, and when you move sometimes from room to room, there seems to be certain footsteps that hurriedly run to one spot and stop. And you can tell they're hiding because they're trying so hard to be quiet, and they can't be. I'm not the one that's doing all that. Okay? So, one of the other reasons why that I am posting these more detailed postings is simply this. Each and every time there seems to be a time limit when you speak with someone that is, let's just say, not of an entity that you control. So this way, there is, no hurry on anybody's part, and I can kind of state this a little more comfortably and try to at least get what I wanted to. into the posting or whatever you want to call it. But and one other thing I wanted to, and this is what I call the it's not fun at all. Okay, that's why I call it the non-fun house, but it's their little fun house. No matter how many times that and that's the other thing, it's has to be all indirect, indirect, like and of course I've already blown through that one, but just made it very clear that myself or anyone, quote unquote, appreciates being watched or monitored, or their content or whatever monitored 24/7. Wouldn't you kind of hate for that to happen to you? Oh yeah, of course. Are you? Oh my gosh. Anyway, so, but this is absolutely there's no excuse for it at this point. And one more thing, a lot of the individuals, I'm not saying everyone, but there seems to be, I don't know if everybody left New York or what have you, and I'm just going because I have I haven't called them in a while, but a couple of really good friends that used to live up that way. One of them was actually my best friend for a while, and and I always kind of view them. I love New Yorkers because they're funny to me. They have like no, which is I have no idea, but in my case they have for everybody. But in my case, they kind of have no gray area, so they just kind of tell it like it is, and I can appreciate that. Or I do appreciate that, but it's just unbelievable. It's like everybody's from with this bunch it seems like they're from New York or somewhere up there up north. But from what I've had no choice but to hear, especially from the wannabe leader of these operatives that happens to be obsessing every day and night, every spare second and spare minute, if not doing something to try to get to myself or get myself or what have you, is obsessing over it. And they know who they are. He knows who he is, and these operatives know who they are. For clarity, again, like the last one was, I don't bother anyone. And I would really like to know why they are doing such a horrible, horrible thing to myself. They are literally out of their minds. And the way they have conducted themselves and the way that, it's the other people that they bring over, and that'll be covered in the next one here, that they bring over, that is really making this uncomfortable, because they as I knew would happen if this ever happened, but it's just inexcusable. So anyway, the clarity now has been the last one was, make no mistake, this is not appreciated, not wanted, it's unlawful, please stop. Okay, this one just basically covered what it's like to wake up in a non-fun house. And today it was, just like the past, however so many days have been, is you wake up and you are literally automatically defending, doing the best you can, defending yourself in some way, shape, or form. And the whole goal to this, and I'll explain this later on as well, is to knock myself offline. They are literally there to cut or knock off or what have you, if not both myself and the communication lines, at the very least, to knock myself offline or knock the communication lines out. And the main one, the wannabe leader, he knows who he is. That seems to be his main mission to do, which is, it was very obvious from the start. That's the one that, literally every night sleeps right on the other side of the wall. It's not actually where that individual is supposed to be, but does, and is just inches away. And anytime anything is done on my computer screen anyway, or said, or if I move from one corner to the other, that individual, for some strange reason, knows exactly. And I would like to know why. I know why, I'm just saying so. So anyhow, I will cover the one other element that I'm probably going to cover tonight, and then we'll call it. Okay. Okay, so this one basically is, I don't know what you'd really call it. It's just, the individuals that they literally have opened the now this is a private house. It's just there's several or different spaces in the private house where you can, there's a lot of people rent their office space there, or their their living quarters, what have you. But basically this is private, and there's an issue of safety here, because as what I was afraid of, everything that I've been afraid of, that well, not afraid, but I mean, because I'd get more pissed off than anything, but afraid of, okay, well, here we go, having to go through the trouble of is opening the home or the private house up to access. So just imagine if you were just basically trying to keep yourself, private to the world, and you just were, trying to just, well, as you were, staying out of pretty much everybody's way. Well, all of a sudden you've got a bunch of different individuals all of the sudden just inches away from you, happen to be viewing what you are watching 24/7 on your computer screen or your TV or what have you, and able to know exactly when you move through the house, what you're doing, where you're going, where you just left from, or even within your own bedroom for that matter, as you're using the bathroom, if you're doing number one, number two, or showering or what have you. It's not appreciated, not wanted. It's unlawful, unconstitutional. And again, in case there's still, and there will be none, I can pretty much almost guarantee it, but that doesn't change the fact that I do not want it. I do not welcome that. It is not appreciated. Please stop. Okay, but as far as it's the individuals that they have opened up this place to. Now, why don't you just move? That's what, people usually ask me. Well, it's kind of hard when, those who, for some reason, they seem to be talking with every night, the eyes that are off property, that, coordinate like the stuff that they cannot see and fill it in so they can see. And there's a few ways it can be done, but an example is like thermal radar, and they do that with the fire departments a lot anyway. But it's still not welcomed, not wanted. Please stop. Clarification. Don't want it, but they do it anyway, no matter how many times you pretty much communicate to them and let them know that you do not like that and do not welcome it. Okay, but it's the individuals that are invited over, and there seems to be sometimes as many as 7 or 8. There could be more than that. Uh, Outdoors, who knows? But that's why when you hear, all these different car door slams, and then, there's like 2 people that like what show up inside or something. It's just it doesn't match, if you know what I'm saying. Now, one night I had actually caught some of those individuals actually with a key unlocking, my front door. I'm talking about the common access front door to the it's a private house, and unlocking it. Okay, and of course, later on that evening there was some things that happened, skirmishes that happened, and should I move from room to room? It's like, there used to be, of course, until I put it down in a report, and then of course it stopped, and different types of sneaking start. But it's not, like I said in the last one, it's not myself that is the one that scatters it's not the reason I do it. But if I put it down in a report and start to send it out, or because they can see everything I do, phones or TV or anything, mainly the TV and the computer screen is what they're looking for, what they're looking at. And they get an inkling that, I'm getting ready to contact the authorities, they, scatter. Well, I'm not the one that scatters, okay, because I don't have anything to hide. So I just really, really would appreciate if that would stop. But, I guess we'll just have to deal with it when the time is right. And there's another question I know everybody always asks me, and I'm not afraid to do it. They say, well, because if those who know, sometimes it's kind of hit and miss with the police. Sometimes you get, as I have, in the past, and this was like years ago, but I mean, you end up, calling certain calls to either the fire department or we had a winter with that this year, or the police or what have you, and they end up, non-friendly, and they're actually with probably with, whoever would be, employing these individuals, but very non-friendly, and without even checking out the individuals that are doing everything that I've just been explaining to you, and the past few messages here, end up interrogating you instead. So, it's just, it's literally just unbelievable. I mean, at this point. But it is these individuals, these other individuals that are just, that, they bring over or that show up. In other words, they are there to literally, I mean, everything that's happened to this point, it's so much to document. It's literally almost too much, not too much, but almost too much to document. But I've done it. But basically to sabotage or whatever, so they have control. In other words, to have control on the premises. That's basically it, okay? And now you have, if you think about it, individuals that will unlock the doors and leave the doors unlocked, and if you know what I'm saying. And as far as like, when I was mentioning moving, well, these probably the same entities, and I won't go into it now, but I have already checked this out. But it is more than likely these same entities that employ these individuals that are, they basically will keep you from conducting like trade, yeah, or commerce or what have you. So it's very hard to, at least for now, to to combat that when it's like, or to, I'm sorry, to respond in that condition when, even simple transactions that you are literally, I mean, just their normal transactions are dishonored. Never have been before in your life, but for some reason you show up one day and they are. So, and that is again also unlawful and unconstitutional. But this one was simply about just the individuals. And by the way, it's again, I don't know what the deal is if everybody left New York or whatever. And again, I love New Yorkers. They've always been fun people to me. But everyone of these guys seem, well, I know a lot of them, if not most of them, are, because I mean, basically, so inches away, how can you not hear, right? And I'm not the one who went to somebody's premises to pose as renters so that they could spy on a good-hearted individual that never did anything to them, and a true American. I love this country and I love our president. He's just done so much good for this country, and it's just nothing but disappointing that these, and by the way, just so I don't forget it, the way I translate it, because I like to get stuff before it happens, but I have documented it, and the proof has been documented. There was a very highly likely an attempt that was tried last evening, one not too long before that, and then that's, if you go back about a few weeks, another one. And it's not appreciated, okay? So I know these individuals will see this, and that's where these individuals come in, to let people in, and then they congregate inches from you. Okay, well, we'll try this, I'll try this, I'll do this, and then, okay. And then they take shot after shot after shot after shot after shot to sabotage, yourself, as I've already suffered so much damage because of these individuals. It's not even funny. And it's like, how much of a beating does one have to take? So, it may almost be time to just go ahead and, do the full-fledged report. It may be before this is even posted, who knows? But one more time, it is not welcome, it is not wanted, it is not appreciated, as I do know that they will see this before anyone does. Please stop. Okay? And I hope everyone else will stay safe. And God bless. This one is just one more really quick here of what happened with me today. It's just, one of those strange but obvious things. They have attacked my doctors, my medications, my pharmacies and pharmacists and pharmacy helpers and supply routes and all that stuff, meaning the pharmacy supply routes, in other words. But today's one kind of took the cake, because they were actually, sometimes when you get certain medications, as you all know, which you really shouldn't have to, you have to go through one or two more additional steps for authorization to obtain certain medications or what have you. But anyway, that's not the issue. The issue is, or the problem is, or whatever, that took irregularly long to do, but it, again, was done. And it was canceled. And that's another thing that needs to come to everybody's notice is, lately it's been it's been the cable company, it's been the phone company. There's one more, but now seems like it's the insurance company. that there is information of mine or statuses of mine that are being changed internally. And that was no different in today's case, because when that situation came to fruition, it ultimately got just canceled completely, making you go do everything all over again. The difference this time is a message was left in that private. Now this is where the file comes in. Okay, the file that nobody gets to see, that nobody gets to review, that nobody gets to rebut. And there was a message in there, and the pharmacy boy, was nice enough to say, was there a, asked me if there was I can't remember how the conversation went, but definitely there was a message in there, and it was of course, I know how it was meant in other terms, but basically it was something completely not to do. Now this is in the system that is supposed that only the pharmacists, not even the pharmacy personnel, but the pharmacists, maybe the pharmacist assistants are supposed to see. And that's the system it was left in. And it was a message that had really nothing to do with the medications or anything. It's just, I was kind of shocked, actually, and I don't get shocked too often, but so that's something that everyone needs to be aware of as well, because that's going way too far. Changing people's information internally in the system, and then leaving messages like that, that has nothing to do with their with what the company is there for, or what you've called upon them for. So anyway, just to bring that to people's attention. And if one last thing, if I may, this is also a notice that people need to be aware of how things are changed sometimes between the point of actuation and the point of return, or on the way to point B back to A. In between that is the medium, sometimes called the media. Okay, and I have already caught in my own case that being changed, even in a call to Social Security. And of course they did correct that. We're able to correct that and catch that. But just in case anybody is ever wondering, if they're ever thrown the terms, different reality or what have you, I think if you look at like the US mail, which all of mine and my phones and everything are blocked as well, they're on the sensitive stuff, and it's not right, but it's always those points in between. And you say, well, how could you do that? Well, they either block them, intercept them, or role play them. Yes, they even role play them. We've even got that. Just look at those points in between, point A to point B, back to point A, in between those points. And you'll see that is a model for what's called a facilitator, and that's always the unseen criminal. And that is at the issue of all of this. So anyhow, please be aware of that. That is where a lot of the trouble seems to lie. A lie, or Eileen, a lie. Anyhow, I'll explain that later on, more in detail, but anyhow, God bless everyone.